Remote teaching pre-K, well, getting them all online, getting their sleepy faces up, I try to be really positive and energetic in the morning with the kiddos. And we start off and it's just good morning, letting them see each other and try to make those connections, because especially with these little ones, they really try to build a sense of community with them. I always start off a meeting letting them talk and see each other and be able to say hi.
I feel as though once we got the swing of it, the routine of it started to normalize a little bit. I think one of the main things that's easy to forget is how resilient the kids are and how adaptive they are to change. So once you start getting in that routine of it and having that normalcy and the predictability, we just kind of start getting in like a groove.
It's definitely been challenging trying to figure out how to meet the needs of our students, but it's actually been really cool because it's definitely we're being innovative on how we're having to meet our students' needs. Like, I know that all the remote teachers are working so hard to just figure out what's best for our students. We do lots of dancing with the kids.
Then we come together, we get to read a story, and that's one of my favorite parts of the day is when it feels kind of normal, even though they're looking at their iPad and I'm by myself in my classroom looking at a laptop. Being able to just read a story and talk about it is probably one of the highlights for me of the day. Then we do a math lesson, and that's actually been one of the things that I've had to get really inventive with this year. And we're using a lot of materials that the kids just have around their home, and that's been something that I got to kind of try out in the spring. Go find a handful of uncooked beans or some rocks outside, and we're going to sort them and group them by tens. And I think it's been a lot more hands-on with just whatever materials I know the kids have around them.
It's crazy how much the kids have adapted. Like that first couple weeks, I was just like, oh wow, like I was tired. I went to bed rather early. But it is you just easily forget how quickly they can adapt and they crave that routine. And once you give them that routine and consistency of at this time every day, we are doing this is how you submit it every day, it gives them that security that they need, that they crave, especially in a time when the world is not secure and maybe always safe. It kind of helps them to feel normal.
Then I spend kind of the rest of my afternoon calling kids one-on-one, and that's one of my favorite parts of the day because it's easy to feel like they're getting lost in their little squares on my screen when there's 20, however many of them. But one-on-one, that's one of the best parts of my day.
MTE has also taken upon itself to use pair support in I feel like a way that maybe hasn't been done before. With smaller blended class sizes, they are able to utilize the pairs more to have call times to call students who maybe are struggling on their home days or just remote in general of not getting assignments completed. So the pairs have a whole schedule, which I'm sure was another process, but we appreciate to call children who maybe not understood the assignment or are not able to read the assignment. And they are there to help support them at that same time every day, which has been very helpful.
We are able to utilize any kind of free time in any para's schedule to have them call a kid, and they really need support with letter names and sounds. So for this 20-minute window, this kid is calling you or you're calling that kid every single day, and they get to touch base with somebody else and get that extra support.
Having that support throughout your day is helpful, knowing that there is somebody there. That can also be a check-in for the student throughout the day when my afternoon is constant small groups, that they're maybe not feeling alone.
One of the biggest things is definitely the video morning announcements.
So at NTE, one of the things that we did this year that was a big change, and I'm sure is hard for our principals, but we do appreciate it, is in order for remote teachers to start on time with the blended students, we needed to figure out a different way to do our announcements.
First of all, it lets me start my day on time and not wait for announcements to be over, but also letting my kids see their friends from kindergarten. They see a video of their old classmates doing the Pledge of Allegiance. They get so excited seeing these other kids. But I think it also helps them because they're seeing their friends, but their friends are wearing masks and their friends are apart, so they don't feel like there's this big party happening at Midland Trail every day and I don't get to be a part of it. They see, oh, it is different. So they see that the kids who are in school are also having a different year than normal.
And they throw in some dance moves. They get to see the Tiger Weekly as well as our principals and other students. And I think that has been like the biggest connection from that. Like my kids, that's the favorite part of their day, is seeing like the other students in the classrooms.
Month to month, like we've noticed like, oh, hey, we might need this at home so the kids can have this. So we decided those at our remote TLTs that we needed to do those remote pickups. And I think they've been also super awesome as well, just because we get to see our kids in person and like they get to put a face to the name instead of just seeing us over a computer screen, which has been good.
You know, last week we did a turkey. We did a math activity where we cut out, you know, feathers and made a turkey activity, and being able to send that home each month for the following month lets us still do a lot of the fun things that we otherwise would miss out on. So I love that we have the opportunity to send more stuff home.
So in the beginning of the year, we created teams to address different things throughout the school. One of them was a community outreach team. And they planned a community night with our families to keep them engaged. We did a drive-through outside where they came and picked up a bag full of STEM items, and we also provided them with dinner and extra food and toiletries. We really felt it was important because a lot of our kids are remote and they don't get the chance to interact with us. So this was an event that a lot of the remote kids could be involved in, and they were able to drive up in their cars and see their peers and teachers in person safely.
Because it is a team effort. Like we couldn't do this alone. It is a big change for us, the families and the kids.
I know that it's really hard for teachers, and I know that it's really hard for kids because this is brand new, but I mean, it's really hard for the families, and I am just so impressed with the way that so many of them have stepped up.
When things fall apart and you pick them back up, you come back stronger. And I think COVID is scary, and I think the pandemic is a scary thing, but being able to almost kind of have that rebuilding piece just gave you that enough initiative to restart and have a clean slate. And I think that's been just one of the most beautiful things that has come out of a mess that I've seen.